Alright, Kiwanayobi, it's Dododoyobi. Today is June 14th, 2025 here in Pacific, California. 12 miles south of San Francisco. Oh boy. Just uploaded a members only a video about an hour and a half ago. So if you're a member, domo arigato, man. Yes, members, domo arigato. A certified Medaka head is what you become. And you also get stickers, but there's a bunch of new people and OGs that have yet to claim their stickers. So just contact me via DM over on Instagram or just email me, and I left that email on today's members only feed. So one of the questions I've been getting a lot is what is the difference between F1, G1, and now that I crossed two different Medakas with traits, can I just name it something and give them away or sell them and all that? So just wanted to do a real quick sip. I should take a real quick sip. Let me just take a real quick sip. Oh boy. Again, these are the two stickers for the members. So hit me up when you do get a chance, man. I know it's fugly, but oh well. I'll try to design something better. The best sake of the moment is today. It's sake. Just real quick before I get into this whole explanation what the F and the G is and how you call the kids after that, I guess. Yeah, my wife ended up taking the key fobs to both of the cars, and I don't even know where the spare is. So I'm stuck at home. I'm out of beer, and the only thing that was left was sake. So I'm hitting up some sake. I typically don't drink sake at home, but I have to until she comes back. I don't know where the keys are, so I'm stuck at home alone. Oh boy. All right, so real quick, the difference between F and G, I think a lot of people have heard the term F1, G1, F2, G2. I try to, my handwriting is awful, but so F is female, M is male. So F stands for filial. And a lot of people use the term F1, F2 incorrectly. And here's the difference between the F versus a G. The generation. So first, if you start with, in this case, I started off with I don't have any right now, but a midnight frill with a red cliff. So important thing, two completely different traits, right? Called, in Japanese, it's keishitsu. So now, when you have, in this case, that a female midnight frill, a male red cliff, those are the parents, so you call them P's. So when you have the female and the male P's, their kids are going to be called F1s, okay? And now from the F1s, when you select a female and a male, their babies are going to become F2s, right? Male and female, and so on and so on, F3, F4, F5, and on and on and on. Now, before I get into the generations, now, a lot of times when you keep on breeding like incest style, right? You're going to start seeing a lot of deformities and all that. And the way to kind of get rid of that deformity while keeping the strain is you would piece a parent, one of the parents up here, right? You cross it with their first offspring, F1s. So let's say you got the midnight frill mom and then a F1 male. So P kakeru, they say kakeru times F1. That's going to give you a B1. So now when you have the B1 male and female, you'll get the B2s. So that's the way to kind of if you're seeing some type of irregularities here, if you want to bring back some of the traits that you are looking for, you basically cross the kids with one of the parents. So that's where B comes. I don't think a lot of people talk about the B, but there is such thing as a B. I don't know what it stands for. And so, bloody honest, I don't know what the B stands for, but that's the term that they use. And this is something that I was taught by a Japanese breeder. So maybe, I don't know, just everything you read or hear on the internet, just take it as a grain of salt, because a lot of times it's wrong information. So I try and to have enough knowledge to make sure I don't share the wrong information, but a lot of times I do. So just keep that in mind. Okay. So let me just take a real quick sip. Oh boy, nigori sake. So again, right now, let's go over what I just talked about. The only thing or any guys and boys that you could call an F is when you have two complete separate parents with different traits. The parents are P's, and then you get the F1, F2, F3, what so forth. And I just explained what this is, right? So next, on the opposite end, what is G1, G2? What is the difference between the F1 and F2? Well, G stands for generation. So in my case, when I imported the Red Cliff juveniles from Japan, right? So female Red Cliff, male Red Cliff, they had babies. So they were my parents, right, of the Red Cliffs. Their babies are going to be, to me, generation 1. Again, the important thing is, to me, generation 1. Why? Because the parents, I don't know what generation they are. I don't know if they came from the same parents or not. I just don't know. Maybe their blood is deep, thick, meaning they're like multiple generations and whatnot. I am going to suspect that they've been in multiple generations, just because when I got the Red Cliffs, that was the biggest thing that was happening in Japan 2 years ago. And this came from the Tarumi-san blood. But by then, a lot of people were trying to just try to keep that trait going, the Red Cliff. So I don't know. So simply, I call them, since they're from the same exact trait, Gen 1. And the offsprings from the Gen 1s will be called Gen 2. So I don't know if I made it clear, and I am not good at explaining things. Just hit me up on DM on Instagram, or just leave comments if I'm not making any sense. But I try to make it kind of simple as possible, and hopefully, like, this illegible whiteboard kind of shows in picture what I'm trying to get to. So there is something that I would like to talk about as well, based on the questions that I've been getting. It's like a lot of so these are basically the offspring. So these are F2s that I have over here, Midnight Filial and Red Cliff. Over here, same, but they look completely different. I mix some of the darker and the yellow ones in here with the darker ones, just because I'm not able to produce babies. I'm kind of stumped, but yeah, I'm just going to try a whole bunch of stuff. Down over here, it's hard to tell from the side, but those are genuine 100% Red Cliffs that I have going. So they're my G2s, I guess, at this moment. And where am I getting to it? Okay, so hold on. I'm sorry, man. I really take another real quick. I think the sake is kind of getting to me. Typically, I don't drink the sake this early in the morning. I do get questions like, can you sell me some of your, I've been calling these metal riffs and all that stuff. And let me explain something. Because you crossed two Medakas with two complete different traits from the parents, you have the offsprings. They look unique, but it's not that you could all of a sudden say, hey, I created a new strain. It's very dangerous because a lot of people just say, hey, I crossed these two. These are my strains. And I think people pull the trigger and they start naming them. For me, I named them Metal Riff just because that's what I call them at home. None of them have gone in the wild, meaning they haven't left this my household. But I just call them Metal Riffs, whatever. It's just having fun. Is this a strain called Metal Riff? No, hell no. And let me explain why. As you can see, again, I used to have the dark ones and the dark and yellow ones and the lighter ones here. I kind of started mixing them. As you can see, even with the same parents, they morph into different looks, right? Some are darker, some have yellow. These guys are completely like kind of silverish. So at this stage, you don't know what you're going to expect. So for me, what I try to do is from this stage, I try to separate them, keep them separated by the way they look. And if I like a certain look, a darker one, I'll keep on working on these babies to the point where when these babies have their babies, majority of them will look like the parents. And when I say majority, you want almost like 60s kind of there, but it's still not there. You want 70 to 90% of the offsprings to look like the parents. And the reason why you want to do that is when people are like, "Oh yeah, I love the way your Medakas look, and I want to breed them, I want to purchase them." You don't want them to be disappointed. So let's say they take home a perfect looking pair, and they have all these eggs. They're successful collecting eggs and all that, and all they get are these, right? These like Silver Surfer looking babies. And they're like, what the hell? And again, Medaka is like, after a while, it requires a lot of space. So you want to make sure who you are adopting your babies to end up with babies that look like their parents. So that's something that you really have to think about. Like when you are releasing them to others, it's either you're giving them away, donating them. If you're just saying, "Hey, I just have Medakas," that's totally fine, I think. But now, when you are becoming a breeder, like when you're selling them to the public, there is a there's a code, an unwritten code in Japan, where you don't want to release them unless you could say, "Hey, man, my parents, you see these parents, my majority, 70 to 90% of the babies are going to look like the parents." It's like a responsibility that you have, I think, as a breeder. Right now, we're just talking about Medakas, but in general. On top of that, there's a lot of other responsibilities. Out of hundreds of babies that I have, these are the only ones that I kept. And it's, I talk about it a lot. It's all about good genes. You don't want bent backs, irregular gills, irregular sized fins, both right and left, and all that stuff. So once you start culling them, that's what you call cull. You pull them out. So you don't collect eggs from them because you want to keep the best DNA. You come down to this little batch over here. Over here, let me just show. So these two babies were in their pack, but see how their body's changing? I don't know if you could see this, but they were really, really, really looking good when I selected them. But now, if you could look closely, they're deforming, right? And they tend to swim on the bottom. That is not a good sign. That means that these babies, as they grew, they started deforming, right? Again, it's not a great, you don't want to pass on that gene, a weak gene, I guess, to the next generation. So I'm just talking about like body shape, body composture, and all that stuff. But as you select, you're going to deselect some of them because they're going to start changing. So it's really important to like keep an eye on your parents that you're keeping when you are trying to welcome the next generation or the next filial, I guess, into the world. The other thing is, what is the other thing? So it looks. Oh yeah, the most important thing, they got to be strong. If they're weak, they're going to pass on the weak gene to the next generation or the filial. A weak gene, regardless of how beautiful they look, if they're weak, they're not going to survive. And now, when you have generations and generations of weak genes, when you do pass it on to the next, parents, your parents as in owners, they're going to have weak fish, and they're not going to be strong. You want them to be able to survive in their environment. So, even no matter how good they look, how good their coloration is, if they're weak, you just do not want to have them as the original parents in both cases. Super important. And going back to the long story short, man, going back to the reason why I'm talking about this, I do get a lot of people after watching some of the clips and, hey, do you have any Medakas for available? I want those. And none of these have left my my base over here. I just call it the Pacifica Medaka base, and for the reason, these babies that I have, I'm still working on. Meaning they're weak, and I can't produce eggs. If I do, they're very minimal. It's probably a lot to do with my technique. All I could say is the original parents, juveniles, came from Japan. They're in U.S. waters, and this is my F2 and G2 or 3s down there, but they're just not producing. And a lot of them, their lifespan is so much shorter than the Miyukis I used to have and the Ozakuras. They were strong as hell. I just left them out there, and they would just like live for like 3.5 years. But these babies, man, it just it just depends, So my goal is, if I could get these babies to be strong enough and produce the next generation that is even stronger, maybe I could start releasing them to all you Medaka heads out there. But I did have like a few people when I said no, I can't sell them. I did get a EM or DM back saying, hey man, you're just trying to keep everything and all this. But no, that's not the case. Like, I would love to share them when I know that they're strong, and that their trait is, when you get the parents, the babies are going to pretty much look like the parents. They're just not going to scatter into some random looking Medakas. So you're like, what the hell is this? This is not what I was thinking that I was going to get. Because again, one of the beauties about these Medakas is just like trying to get more babies, right? So you buy a pair or two or a couple trios, and you're like, man, I want to keep this gene going. And when I do have people asking me, I wanna get some of your fish, and it's man, it's like, to be honest, man, it's freaking flattering, because I'm just a dude drinking beer, today's sake, like recording my journey, I guess. But yeah, when the time comes, I will have them available. It's just that I just don't have any that I can offer at this moment. I don't feel comfortable. They're not strong enough. So I don't know. Hopefully there was some information today. A lot of times I just babble on, and it seems like the content is like there's no real content. But hopefully there was some information that was helpful to all you Medaka heads. I just got contacted by an acquaintance over on Instagram about a new association that they started. And I checked them out, and I read all their like core values and all that. And it's I don't do Facebook. I do, but I don't really engage. Out of a lot of the documentations that I read over here in the U.S., they really like believe in the stuff that's really important. One of it being like, don't sell eggs, and here's the reason, and etc., etc. The importance of keeping the gene strong, the importance of just not crossing and just calling it a new lineage, coming up with the name, and that is the danger, because once people just start doing that loosely, it just goes all to hell, I think. The original trait that was created after years and years and years of all these breeders in Japan, you don't want to just scar that whole work, right? Imagine spending years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, finally developing the trait that you were hoping to, or envisioning, and all of a sudden somebody just gets two random ones and starts calling it like a red cliff per se, and it's just, it's easy to just say, hey, I have all these, but the amount of work that was that it took for that creator to finally develop that trait that he or she was envisioning. Remember, it's not just getting two Medakas with different traits to see what comes out. You have to visualize, you have to envision what trait you're looking for. And based on that, you look for Medakas with two separate traits that may or has the ability, based on your vision, to basically create that new trait that you're looking for. A lot of times it's the other way around. You just slap two together and like, let's see what comes out. And, oh yeah, that's cool. That's kind of different. It's the other way around. You envision what you're looking for. If you're looking for black and super, super dark, tight yellow, then you got to figure which two traits that are currently available on the market will create that, right? So you're kind of like, you're not just mixing food and you're eating it. It's like, that kind of turned out pretty good. It's pretty good. No, you know that taste that you're searching for, hunting for. And to create that flavor, you start adding recipes, right? Because you know what you're going for. And then you add a little bit of this and this and that. And if it's not doing it, you add a little bit more of something else to get close to what your taste buds are envisioning, right? How do I release my dopamine? I'm envisioning this taste. I know what it tastes like. I just need to figure out which ingredients I need to mix to make that. And that's the same thought when it comes to trying to create, if you're looking to create a new lineage. You got to visualize. And now to get that, there's a lot of Medakas out there that are solidified, established. Which Medakas, if you look at them as ingredients, do you mix to get that final unicorn per se, your unicorn? So that's the fun part about it. And I know I'm way like far from that, but if you understand, or if you kind of look at things that way, I think you'll start looking at medakas in a different way, right? So, and it becomes a hunt, looking for that male, looking for two medakas with separate traits, hunting for that certain one, so you can kind of like in your head imagine, like, if I cross these two, I'll get what I'm envisioning. That's part of the fun. So it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of years. But again, if this is your hobby, if it's something that you're interested in, it's worth the time, because if it works, man, you are going to be so emotionally like satisfied, right? Immediate dose of dopamine is going to get released from your brain. And if people like it, that's just like a dessert, icing on the cake, per se. Is that the right lingo? Icing on the cake. That's just an icing on the cake. But beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And if it's something that you envisioned and you were able to get close to, that is the most beautiful happiness that you could have. So, all right, please do not forget that, because it's really important. So we just don't see random medakas just swimming around everywhere, getting out of control. Japan kind of turned into like a thing like that, because it became a money grab at the end. So let's just make sure that over here in the Western world, we don't repeat that mistake. Because when that starts happening, I don't know. It's not fun anymore. Let's put it that way. All right, last quick sip. So here's the chart. Hopefully there are no typos, but hopefully it made sense. Some clarity, or this is the best I could do to answer a lot of the questions that I got. It's hard to put this in words because I suck. So, domo arigato. Have a great weekend. And all you Medaka Head members, I'll mention your names in the next one, I think. But domo arigato. The best psyche of the day is all you Medaka Heads. And we'll do it again next time. DM me at MedakaMetal over on Instagram. All right, out. Oh, and this is not milk. It's nigorizake. All right, outs.